don't remember doing that, and I probably did it, and I just don't remember the next day doing it.
In fact, as Hernandez later found out, the police lied. They did not have his fingerprints, nor did they have his DNA or the surveillance tapes they claimed implicated him in the crime. He was held in jail for 3 weeks until DNA testing eliminated him as the rapist. The charges were dropped and he was released. The Palo Alto Police Department and the district attorney's office wouldn't comment on the ongoing investigation, except to say that no one, including Hernandez, had been eliminated as a suspect. Attorney Randolph Daar is representing Hernandez in a lawsuit against the city of Palo Alto and members of its police department for conducting what he calls a coercive and unlawful interrogation.
By telling Jorge, in essence, we already know what happened. We already know you did it. So you only have two choices. Choice one is you go to trial and we'll bury you with the evidence. Or choice two is you tell us the truth and we're going to get you some help. And that is clearly illegal. That is coercion. That's what produced a false confession here. I know most people out there say, gee, I wouldn't confess. It worked with him because he believes the cops. When he believes police don't lie. So it was only in the face of that naivete and sincere belief that they could begin to get him to question himself.
Joe Buckley says police are allowed to lie about evidence to get at the truth. So a police officer can say, look, you might as well confess. We've got your fingerprints. We've got your blood at the scene. We have a surveillance camera, caught you doing it. Perfectly legal?
According to the courts, perfectly legal.
But isn't that kind of very strong tactic liable anyway to produce a false confession?
No, because most innocent people, when you tell them that, it says, hey, look, pal, I don't care what you got. I wasn't there. I didn't do it. You ain't got no fingerprints on me. I wasn't even in the building. I had nothing to do with it. And most innocent people throw that back in your face.
Daar says it was the combination of lies and what he says were unlawful offers to help Hernandez if he confessed that ultimately elicited the false confession. In this case, the interrogation was recorded.
Half of it's recorded, half of it's not recorded. We only know for certain, besides Jorge's testimony, about the lies and the coercion because they are then repeated during the recorded part of the interrogation.
Professor Drizin wants to see mandatory videotaping of all interrogations, but critics argue that it could interfere with an investigation and that suspects might be less willing to confess with a camera in the room.
I think it's the most important single reform in the criminal justice system.
And there's terrific resistance.
It's starting to soften a little bit because of all the false confessions that are surfacing, but there's terrific resistance.
Here we have a videotaped interrogation and still come up with a kind of false confession.
But Jorge, at least if he had to face a jury someday on this terrible charge, would at least have a pictorial record of what happened. They're being coercive, they're lying, and I believe ordinary citizens, when looking at those kind of tactics in that context, are going to reject the confession. They are not nearly as accurate as we are to believe. And thank God the DNA has come along and at least opened our eyes and exploded these myths.